Good evening, everyone, and welcome to qualifying here of the CRL Championship here at the legendary Suzuka circuit. We come from an unpredictable and dramatic race at Monza, and if there's one thing that reminded us was track position is everything here at Suzuka, as the statement could be more true. With flowing, narrow layout, overtaking is notoriously difficult, meaning tonight's 18-minute qualifying session will be very crucial and possibly decide the fate of the race. The championship picture is starting to take shape now, as Sweet Crown leads the way on 92 points, showing remarkable consistency so far, as Bobia sits behind in 24, who could have took a lot of points last week, but unfortunately crashed out at the Monza Grand Prix, and Nathan's just further behind with 12 points, back in third place. Behind them, Pease and Seba locked together on 52 points, while Bosch Evans, fresh off that brilliant one-stop victory at Monza, has jumped himself into 6th on 44 points. But in a championship that's competitive, one poor qualifier, so she could see the tumble down the order too, and that's why the next 18 minutes is all about finding the limits without overstepping it too around here at the Japanese Grand Prix. Sector 1 will punish any lapse in rhythm and concentration through the perfect compromise between entry points, speed and traction, and the legendary 130R. With bravery meets precision, nail it all together, and you can set yourself up for a race winning Sunday. Miss it and you'll be staring at the back of the DRS train all night, unfortunately, because this track is so difficult. So put one foot wrong and you can find yourself way further behind as well. But we're in this 18-minute qualifying session, and I'd like to talk about that race back in the Monza Grand Prix, because it was such a dramatic race indeed, and we saw a lot of things happening as well and unfold in that Grand Prix too. So here we go then, as the drivers make their way out of the garage, and there's people actually going side by side, which is quite surprising as well in the pit lane there. So let's see which one of those two will get out ahead of who. But as the lines went tight, the damp conditions last Thursday, is it raining? It is. So it is raining on the circuit then. So this qualifier session could be a very interesting one, because it's getting damper and greasier and wetter out of the circuit. So every single driver has to get out there immediately to have the best track conditions, and if they don't, they can miss out on a big opportunity. So I expect a mad dash coming out of the pit lane here as well, and the drivers trying to find a track position. Sweet Crown and Knowsley are still in the pit lane then, so that's not ideal for those two, as Sweet Crown is just coming out the pit lane. I can see every single driver is pushing as hard as they can to get those tyres up to temperature and try and get the perfect lap time as well, because it could be a one-lap shootout. We've seen it plenty before times in qualifier too, where qualifier could decide, the early stage of qualifier could decide the race. But because the Ferrari there getting so close to the back of Reservoir, and he overtakes it. Was that Bosch Evans who was going for a move on Reservoir? And it was. Bosch Evans is up into 7th place, but let's see these lap times unfold. They don't want to start too close to each other, so I think some drivers have to back off here to make sure they're not in that dirty, turbulent air, because that would definitely ruin and wreck their qualifying and their laps, of course. So the drivers got to make sure they're spatially aware and give each other a few centimetres and a few car lengths in between too. But we've got majority of drivers now heading towards the Casio Triangle Chicane. This track was first introduced back in 1987, and I think 11 championships as well has been won around here, including Senna, Schumacher, Verstappen as well, and Sebastian Vettel in the past. But here comes the Ferrari driver. Last week's race winner Bosch Evans then will set sail off on a lap time as we head down in towards turn 1. Want to take a flat out through here, through turn 1, then braking towards turn 2, using the camber on the curve there to get more grip at the exit as we head now towards the S section, as you're going to be very smooth, very precise through here as well, taking the right amount of curb and making sure you don't be greedy and overdo it on the throttle there. You don't want to go flat out in the S section. You want to lift off slightly there to get the rotation and the balance as well of the car. As we head down in towards the first sector we go. The first sector, 31.7 flat out to the first part, but of course in these conditions it's not going to be flat out. I think drivers need to be a bit cautious as well. It's the first part of qualifying plus the first lap time on the track, so the drivers there in unknown territory, having no idea what these lap times could be. So it could be the survival of the fittest here, and see who adapts to these conditions as quickly as they can. As Bosch Evans then makes his way in towards Spoon Curve, down through 2 gears, then just a little throttle here as well, making sure keep it nice and tight to the edge. You don't go out too wide at the exit of Spoon Curve, which he almost did, but he just used all the track on the outside there. Didn't get the best of exits out of Spoon Curve, which is very important because it leads onto a back straight. Heading towards 130 off, flat out through there in these conditions, no problem. As we stamp on the brakes in towards the chicane, it's very important to scrub off all the speed as we clip the curves in towards the finals of corners. The first drive across the line is Nathan JB, but here goes Bosch Evans as his lap is a 28.0, and Reservoir goes quicker with a 27.4 as AJ goes up into P3 in the Mercedes, and behind us is Harry Palmer, who experienced the wet conditions in qualifying no, he actually didn't. Sorry about that. He commentates in Division 2 for Mondays, not races, so he hasn't experienced anything. But he's now pushed into P9 as Darby in the Ferrari goes P6 there, as he had a terrible race unfortunately last week at the Monza Grand Prix, but he tumbled down the order and retired from the race as Speedcon is left out there. Where is he? 30th place, and he crossed the line right now, goes up into P3. The Dutchman, despite being the last one to cross the line, he still shows some incredible and tremendous pace in the Williams. Got a bit lucky last week at the Monza Grand Prix 2, as he had front wing damage throughout the whole race, which affected him, his performance, the balance of the car, stability as well, and therefore didn't have the pure grip as well, and the aerodynamics either. But there's the first lap times done and dusted, and so far it is Reservoir who's on pole with a 27.4. These aren't bad lap times considering it's the early stage qualifying plus the wet conditions as well. Or shall I say the greasy conditions, the track will be cold as well, so I think the drivers may be a bit difficult, as they want to be quite careful on their first lap, not to overdo it and overstep the mark on their first laps as well, as we might see Cross Liam, who has a bit of an excursion off the grass and into the wall there, unfortunately, for the Red Bull driver. So he's had a bit of a moment out of the second Degner, and he'll head off into the pit lane. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the Monza Grand Prix because we had some immediate action on the pit lane, because this part of qualifying could be very important because it could get wetter and wetter as the session provides and goes on. As 3-4 is up into P5 in the Racing Bull, so looking very quick again is 3-4, like he was last week at the Monza Grand Prix, who did get himself inside the top 10 as well, so that was immaculate performance there from a free fall, and can he keep it up? Is the track going to get greasier and wetter? Are the pure dry conditions going to fade away now and transpire in towards the wets? But it may take a bit of time, but we'll see what the drivers think and decide to do. I think there's still enough time to go out there and do more laps, because the track, it's not pouring it down, is it? It's just spitting without rain, so it's not perfect conditions, but it's still doable out there on the soft compound tyres. Obviously, way too far away, way too far away from the Inters. We're about 10 seconds away, about 37, 36 there for the Inters, so nowhere near Inter territory. It's still the dry conditions, but there's Cross Liam out there who's going for more laps with a broken front wing as he goes straight off into towards turn 1 and turn 2 there. But the last race then was at the Monza Grand Prix. We didn't even get to talk about it, but yeah, Monza will go down as one of the most unpredictable and chaotic races of CRL so far this season. A wet to dry thriller that had everything: changeable conditions, penalties, one safety car, and our last lap heartbreak for Steve Royal Gamer. From lights out, Steve was in a league of his own, launching superbly in damp conditions. He stretched a commanding 7-second lead within the opening stint of the race. Then lap after lap, his Racing Bull machine looked untouchable through Monza's high-speed curves, through Ascari and Parabolica with clinical positions as well. He was very quick in the early stages, bridging that gap over Bobpia and Harrison too. Harrison isn't here, neither is Bobpia, so both of them have gone, and Seaby as well is not here either. Leroy isn't here too, so we're missing quite a few drivers here. But the first turning point came in the pit lane, switching from Inters to another set of Inters, as Felix has retired from the session, so he's out of qualifying already. But switching from Inter to Inter, Seeb was caught speeding in the pit lane, a 10-second penalty that threatened to do his brilliant strategy and his good work throughout the Monza race. Then the safety car came out as Bosch Evans was in a comfortable position from doing Inter to soft. The biggest twist came on lap 23 when ILT Bobpia in the midfield lost control and crashed out, allegedly, as bringing out the safety car for the first time in the race. The field bunched up and the strategy boards let up opportunity as well. For Seeb and other people, they were very glad that the safety car came out. Other people weren't very happy either because they wanted to go to the end of the intermediate compound tyres, not lose the time to do a second stop. But they dropped down the field when that safety car came out too. Suddenly, the win was back on the table for Steve Royal Gamer. Whilst most runners went from into hard, medium or soft, Bosch Evans and Ferrari rolled the dice on bold into to soft one-stop strategy. The daring car meant a fewer pit stop visits, fresher tyres in the final laps, and crucially perfect timing during the safety car window too. And once the race restarted under green flags, Bosch Evans had track position over Steve, and the racing boards was now free of penalty and closing fast. Same with Harrison. Harrison had a 3-second penalty in the Grand Prix, and he did win initially, but unfortunately that penalty cost him towards the end, hence why Bosch Evans managed to get the victory at the very end of the Grand Prix too. As the laps moved down, tension built up to a boiling point. See how did Bosch Evans all the way to the final lap. Then at the final corner, Parabolica, he made his move, trying to snatch the victory away from him. But unfortunately, disaster struck as under braking, C made contact with Bosch Evans as he went for a late lunge and spun the car around. And therefore, his chances of winning were gone. Then Bosch Evans then took advantage, crossing the line to deliver a fairy tale victory at his home, well, Ferrari's home victory at their home Grand Prix in Monza, where Harrison was secured second, and P secured third from start to P13. He went to the hard compound tyres quite early in that condition too, which wasn't the right call at the right time, but it was all about surviving, people from making mistakes, etc., people picking up penalties, and then he took P3 at the end of the Grand Prix. As Reservoir does not improve on his second lap time there on board with the Sauber driver as Nathan locks up going into towards the chicane. He's also a 10th down in relative to his best lap too. So this is not a lap time Nathan is going to be proud about. It's not. He's way down, 3 tenths down. So I wonder if these drivers are struggling. I wonder if the track's getting more better and the grip is starting to dissipate off the track there. Sweet Crown is down 2 in the first set. So is anybody actually improving? 3-4's back in the pit lane. So are the conditions just not good enough anymore? Is Pease frustrated with the car in front of him? Was the car holding him up? Was that Harry Palmer in the way? It possibly was. But I think that's qualifying done as Bosch Evans has crashed heavily in towards the S section and he's out of qualifying. So qualifying has ended prematurely and quite early too. For those people it's not a 28th, I wonder if it's worth for them to keep going and see where they could go. Alex has left it too late. He's come in the pit lane way too late as Isa Kush is exactly 5 seconds down in the first sector, closest to the nearest decimal point, but obviously he's not going to improve either. So every single driver then back in the pit lane and hopefully we can go into the race very quickly because I don't think nobody can improve now. It looks like the track is now past its best and therefore the grip has purely gone. So I expect Nathan to Reservoir in the pit lane at the end of this lap. Then we can head on to the race quite early in the Grand Prix too, which is very nice and beyond schedule too. Of course, we know that in the race it is notoriously difficult to overtake in the Grand Prix because DRS zones, DRS trains, etc. There's only one DRS around here, which is from the last corner to the first corner. And the high-speed corners, which means the drivers will be in the dirty and turbulent air of each other and will affect the car's performance. And tyre wear is notoriously high as well. It is an absolute killer as well in this race. So I wonder if any driver might struggle with tyres too. It could be a talking point in the Grand Prix. In the first stint, drivers might have to manage, as we see all the people out there. Coming back in the pit lane is Isa Kush, as Cross Liam as well will also make his way back in the pit lane as Alex is on his first flying lap as Cross Liam goes once again. Even in F1 as well itself, that it says here that pole position, 11 out of the 17 races that Suzuka have been won for pole. It really tells you how critical pole is around here too. It's just so difficult to overtake. Even Max Verstappen as well, not in the best car, he took a fantastic, sensational pole time this year in 2025 in Japan, and he held off both McLarens. Both McLarens, I dare say, were quicker than Verstappen, or shall I say, quicker than the Red Bull car. But Verstappen held him off beautifully, and it should have been McLaren's to win. It was such a boring race, but McLaren bottled the strategy once again, and therefore Verstappen won at the Japanese Grand Prix to win his first race of the season, I believe. I think he's won 2 this season, Verstappen, Imola, and in Japan. I don't think he's won elsewhere this season either, so Red Bull have been lacking in terms of performance as well and going backwards as Costin there outbraked himself. But what a phenomenal race that was for Verstappen as well, really showing his masterclass of skills, portraying why he's a 4-time world champion. As Cross Liam retires in the pit lane then, as Isa Kush is out there for another flying lap there in the Red Bull. We've had some great memories here as well back at the Japanese Grand Prix, some fantastic races as well back in 2005 when Fernando Alonso made that move on Michael Schumacher, and I think Kimi Raikkonen came from the back of the field to overtake Fisichella on the last lap of the Grand Prix to go up into first place. What a sensational drive that was from Kimi Raikkonen too. Seeing some great daring moves in towards 130. I'll see some spins and crashes also into that corner. I remember Kamui Kobayashi being one of them as well back in 2011 when he spun but saved the car as well. Great half spin. Then Luca Di Grassi hit the wall on the formation lap and he was out of the race before it even started as well. I'm not quite sure how Di Grassi managed that, but he is of course a Formula E champion nowadays. Is Luca Di Grassi. And also back at the hairpin, it's commonly known as the Kamui Kobayashi corner as well. Kobayashi sent some fantastic moves in 2010 as well and 2012. He finished P7 in the Sauber in 2010. Then he's still the last Japanese Grand Prix driver to be on the podium since 2012 as well. Yuki Tsunoda hasn't achieved that just yet. So Kobayashi is still Japan's last podium sitter. He was also Sauber's last podium sitter too. Before Nico Hulkenberg took it back and claimed the podium at the British GP with a fantastic race and strategy on his side of the garage. We barely saw Isaac Kush back at the Monza Grand Prix. Remember, he crashed with Mick in the early parts down towards turn 2. And that's where Lance Stroll and Giovinazzi crashed too back in F3 in 2015 when those two collided into the wall with each other too. Isaac Kush was out while Mick was continuing, but unfortunately Mick couldn't do anything about it after being in last place, while Jasper claimed his best result in P5 and would be very happy about that one indeed. As I would have hoped we got into the race, but Isaac Kush has other ideas. There's always one person that likes to waste time. No, I'm only joking. Do what you want. I don't really care. But yeah, there's always one person that has to hold the progress up. We're just waiting for Isaac Kush to retire, then we can get going in the race. And let's see what the race has to bring for us. Reservoir is on pole as well with a 27.4. So great lap time from him. The first laps was very important. This was a definition of a one-shot qualifying. And Reservoir proved to be the quickest driver out there as well, despite having one lap time on the board. So everybody's first laps was crucial. And that's why sometimes it really displays and showcases how good drivers are too. To get out there and do a lap immediately under massive pressure by doing one lap. And Reservoir has sustained and soaked the pressure really well with Nathan in P2 and Sweet Crown in P3 as well. So it was all about who could get used to the conditions quickly than others as well. Reservoir, of course, was fighting with Nathan JB back at the Japanese Grand Prix. But unfortunately for Reservoir did not win the Grand Prix after Nathan took the victory as well with a great drive. As hopefully Isaac Kush does retire from the session, then we can get going straight into the race and see what happens. Reservoir qualified P2 back in the British GP. It was a slow start to the season for Sauber, but their resurgence recently has been quite admiring too. They've definitely got the pace, but in terms of hooking it all together, they could definitely start winning races because both Kick Saubers haven't won any races at all.
Isaac can eat shit for wasting our time and seems a pussy for not racing.
Well, thank you, Josh, for those comments, mate. Nice to have you here. That was Bosch Evans, everybody, who just joined the party to give his lovely comments out. calling out Steve for not racing. Steve needed a rest. I'm not surprised with all those hours in F1 as well. I think Harry Palmer's about to join the party because he's in game chat right now. So if he does join this party, I'll kick him out immediately. So that is it for qualifying then. It is reservoir pole by 900ths of a second there. Not much separating those two despite a tricky track. And Sweet Crown and P3 in the Williams, great qualifying from him as always. AJ with a great qualifying as well, as he was a contender for the podium sitter at the Monza Grand Prix. But he fell backwards in Monza as well. 3-4 with a great qualifying at P5 in Division 1. P's and P6 ahead of Dari, Harry Palmer, Bosch Evans, Phoenix, Ronnie Stiffboard, Isa Kush, Cross Liam, Knowsley. And that is it there. 40 drivers for the Japanese Grand Prix. And we'll see what happens here. In the land of the rising stars. Sorry, sun. I don't know why I said stars there. I was thinking about something else. But never mind. Completely bottled that one up. That was definition of a one-shot qualifying there too. Because I don't think nobody could improve on their second flying lap. So the first flying lap decided the outcome of qualifying and will probably determine the race as well, because track position is key around here too. And let's see which drivers can make their tyres last long and work too, because it is a tyre killer as well. Down towards turn 1 and turn 2 can be so hectic as well, because back in 2012 we saw, I think, Romain Grosjean take out Mark Webber in turn 2. And we saw down towards turn 1 as well, Felipe Massa. Fernando will also get caught up in contact as well. And Fernando will also spun down towards turn 1, I believe, as well, back in 2013, was it? Then we saw Jules Bianchi, and I think, who was it at the time towards turn 1? Was it Kobayashi? No, it couldn't be Kobayashi. It was Charles Peak, or no, it was Guido van der Garde and Bianchi who crashed down towards turn 1 in 2013, and also Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost too, who crashed down towards turn 1 in 1990. I don't want to get confused between 1989 and 1990, because they came to blows twice down towards chicane, then also again down towards turn 1 as well, probably a year later. Plenty of moments in history around here, and Michael Schumacher, I think, is taking the most wins around here too in Japan. No formation lap. We're going to get straight into it then for the first time this season in Japan. No formation lap, and we're underway for the race here in Japan. As looks like the top two got an even start there with Nathan. Will he go down the inside in towards turn 1 as we barrel roll in towards turn 1? Nathan JP takes the lead of the race already. As Justify is in P2, so great move there from Nathan. Pease gets ahead of Dari as they foul through the first sector. As you can see, the Ferrari there just getting a bit out of shape. We can see his teammate behind him getting squeezed there by 3-4 as Bosch Evans now goes up into P7 around the outside of the racing ball. They go side by side between those two, but Bosch Evans there just squeezes up into P7 there. Bit of contact, and now Harry Palmer is looking to go through on 3-4-2 as we head towards the first deck there. One of you's got to back out. Harry Palmer goes straight off the track there too. Nowhere to be seen on that camera angle as he rejoins down into P11 then. That was never going to work. Those two going side by side in towards the first and second deck now as we head down towards the hairpin, where we can see overtakes happen in the race too. Plenty of overtakes have happened in this particular part of the racetrack. I expect so, maybe not at all, because they're stuck in the dirty air. Sometimes you've got to have a massive tyre advantage to have an overtake down there, or hope that your rider in front of you goes off into towards deck 2 and therefore be close. And look at that, you can see that reservoir already going off the track. And once again, it's the top two as it was at the British GP, as Reservoir is hunting Nathan JB down. But what a great start for Nathan JB as he takes the lead of the Grand Prix already in this race, leading Reservoir and Sweet Crown. And behind is AJ Wuhan and Pease, the two Mercedes driver, in 4th and 5th place. Pease finished on the podium back at I think it was the Monza Grand Prix last week. And it was the Monza Grand Prix, as now the DRS then has been enabled. Of course, there's only one DRS zone around here as Harry Palmer gets past Isa Kush as he puts himself up into P10 ahead of the Red Bull driver as he settles into P10 for the time being and tries to make up some lost ground after he lost it towards the start of this race. But so far, Nathan is your de facto leader in first place there, as he will control the pace and have the advantage at the front, with the benefit of having nobody in front of him with the dirty air, etc., as he leads Reservoir and Sweet Crown too. Sweet Crown has lost a second already, so the man in P3, who has finished on the podium and taking wins around in Japan before in its past history, with him, Jeroen Visser and Russell were all fighting for first place. They were so close together, inbound with each other as well. The top three separated by under a second, and that was a credible race to watch as well. I think even Visible won the Grand Prix with Russell in P2 and Sweet Crown in P3. But Sweet Crown, in his early stage of this race, it looked like he's struggling to stay within the DRS range. And AJ Wuhan is on the back of him already as well. AJ Wuhan, who scored in the top 5 back in the Bahrain Grand Prix, and back in Monza was unlucky as well because he ran in the top 5 the whole race until that safety car came out, so it's really compromised his strategy and ruined his race. But now he sees the Williams right in front of him and possibly take advantage too. AJ so far this season has been looking great, other than those few mishaps. But here we go, down in towards the Casio Triangle chicane. You can see Reservoir is shaping up Nathan JB as we exit the final two corners. Reservoir will have the DRS, of course, on the back of the RP driver. Alpine are first in the Constructors' Championship as well, so that's great for them. Can they extend the lead over the rest of the field? And look at this in the background. We can see AJ go for a move on Speed Crown in towards turn 1. He swoops around the outside to take away third place, and that was a great move indeed. He's on the podium now, though. Question is, can he break away from Sweet Crown, who seems to be struggling in this part of the Grand Prix, unable to keep up with Reservoir and Nathan too. Reservoir and Nathan are pulling away. It could be a factor of Sweet Crown just being on the pad, because being on the pad around here is a massive disadvantage, whereas on the wheel, it is much easier as well, and more sufficient and sustainable on tyre life too, because being on the pad on this game is a massive downfall, unfortunately, for us pad players. Or shall I say disadvantage, because the tyre wear is so high and so significant as well. So us pad players do struggle with the tyre advantage. With AJ being released up into P3 now, can he hunt down the top two and make it a three-way fight? Both Ferraris are close together. Last week's race winner Bosch Evans is in P7 and right behind his teammate Dory, unfortunately struggled back at the Monza Grand Prix, but he's in P6 for the time being right now, right behind P's, as Bosch Evans then has got 3-4 and Phoenix right behind him too, all in that big DRS train, whilst Reservoir continues to put the pressure on Nathan JB right in front of us. Here we go between these two. These two are battling quite hard back in Silverstone, but Nathan JB just had the advantage towards the end as well, as he saved the battery and used it in the right place at the right time too. But Reservoir, has he learned from his mistakes as well? Has he learned when to attack as well against the LP driver as we head down towards turn 1? And Crossliam has retired already, and a safety car has been deployed to neutralise this race, as Pease, I think, almost got ahead of Dory, or should I say, who was it? I think Dory almost got ahead of Pease, but Pease re-overtook the German driver back, and Pease is back up into P5. A safety car has been caused. It's right to the back of the field there. So Crossliam is the first driver to retire from this race. I think he crashed in the same place as Magnussen, Kubica, and also Timo Glock as well. Timo Glock had a massive shunt in the final corner in 2009. I think that's why Kamui Kobayashi replaced him in the last few races of the Grand Prix. It was Trulli and also Glock. It could have been the other way around, actually, but I can't quite remember. It was a long time ago back when Braun won the championship around here. Not around here, of course, but in 2009 they did. Recently, the championship's been won by Max Verstappen in 2022 at the Japanese Grand Prix as well. Verstappen's great season in 2022, where Ferrari started the campaign as the favourites and beginners, but Red Bull clawed back and they won the championship too after Max Verstappen won it. But he didn't win it immediately because there was a 5-second penalty for Charles Leclerc who forced Perez, or shut the door on Perez, and yeah. I'm not quite sure exactly what happened there. I think Leclerc went off the track unsafely, they came back unsafely, and that's how the 5-second penalty was declared as well in that race. Leclerc was never going to win the championship, so I don't think he really cared that much. He lost it. So safety car has been deployed. What do you do in this situation? Is it too early to pit? Surely. Maybe it's a bit too early to pit. Yes, we're pitting. We are in the pit lane then to get rid of the mini compound tyres. Only a few have gone into the pit lane. And what is Pease doing? Surely that was purposeful. He's retired. Oh, Pease, man. What was you doing? He must have been so frustrated that this safety car... I don't think this safety car would have put him at a disadvantage, though. That's the thing. Like, there's still plenty of opportunities, I dare say, to go in this Grand Prix. He's rejoined all the way back of the field. It's an early safety car though, so it's going to be a big stretch for those tyres. So it is AJ who leads now ahead of Sweet Crown. Sweet Crown is on the hardcore powered tyres, so it could explain his drop in pace towards the beginning of the race to why he lost a second. But Cross Liam has put his crash in the chat, so let's see how that happened. We'll process the video, check back later. I can't watch it because the video is being processed. So Nathan JB on a new set of hardcore powered tyres. Surely that's a two-stop strategy. There's no way that those hardcore powered tyres can go towards the end of the Grand Prix. Maybe they want to go off the mediums immediately and put on a set of hardcore powered tyres. We'll see how the strategy unfolds. It's going to be a very interesting strategy with a few people opted to stay out there on their tyres as they started on, whilst others have gone the opposite way and put on a set of hardcore powered tyres. Maybe go for that two-stop strategy because those tyres definitely can't go towards the Grand Prix for sure. So it's a definite two-stop, and I dare say it could be an interesting race between those guys as well. What they've got to do is they've got to overtake those guys quickly as they can before they pit for the second time in the Grand Prix as well. Whilst the guys on the medium powered tyres might not have any tyre concerns anymore, maybe the one stop is possible because there was a few talks in strategy that the case in this race, but it's not. It's a one-stop strategy unless the safety car appears again in the second half of the race, or I think 8th behind is doing a two-stop strategy because they've got to. There is no way those guys are taking them towards the Grand Prix. If they do, then fair dues to them, as Alex is in the pit lane too to get rid of those mini-cob powered tyres. 22 laps of the serve. I don't know. I've seen a miracle happen before, but those tyres will be stretched out so much to be hanging off the cliff as well. The tyres will be absolutely shredded. Their tyre management has got to be absolutely flawless as well, to be honest with you. Because those guys will pit on a new set of mediums or hards, depends what tyres are on now, the guys who haven't pitted. And they'll be hunting down the rest of the guys too, whilst they'll be suffering on the whole old hardcore powered tyres. So I'll chart this race. It's going to be a very trusted strategy call from all these drivers. Safety car has been caused by Cross Liam, but Pease has retired too. I'm hoping to hear from a comment from Total Pease. It was a bit bizarre as well why he did that. He just gave up immediately, which is a shame as well because that man has potential all the time. A higher monster for finishing P3, but he's retired early doors in this race too, in the Suzuka Grand Prix, which is a massive shame because he is a real contender every single time. A multiple race winner as well, multiple podium sitter. Has shown us some excellent races against like the likes of Sweet Card as well. Only finished the podium, I think, twice this season as well. Back in the Dutch GP, finished in P3 after starting 8th place. So he's picked up podiums twice this season as P's. What's happened to AJ? He's fallen down the order. Oh, AJ spun! Oh my goodness me, the race leader has spun onto the safety car, and it's the most silliest thing you could ever do as well. He must be absolutely furious with that one. He's absolutely kamikaze his race, unfortunately, has AJ Wuhan. And the safety car, to make things worse, is in at the end of this lap. 3 falls up into P3 as well on the podium too. But this should be an interesting phase now, with a multiple mixture of strategies going on throughout the whole field. And we'll see what strategy is best towards the end. I love this camera angle. It is such a lovely, nice camera angle to watch as well, with all the drivers in one big shot going through the picture of your screen here. But about to get racing once again very shortly, and we should continue this Grand Prix. Off we go then for the restart of the Japanese Grand Prix. And there is your race leader, Sweet Card. Isak Kush, however, is right behind. And here comes Nathan JB as well, as we head down towards turn 1. As Nathan can't get past, but Ronnie Stiffel goes off the track. And Nathan goes through. He's up into P4. Oh, Nathan almost lost the car. And here comes Ronnie back around the outside, the wheel to wheel. Barely anything between those two. As Nathan JB is up into P5. But has he broken his wing? He has. Why does Nathan always break his wing? That's the main thing. I don't understand how he does it, but Nathan has broke his wing again. There was a few cars in the pit lane, which is AJ, Dari and Phoenix as well. So what on earth happened to them? Well, I must have missed a lot because I was looking at my phone whilst the safety car happened. So I think something dramatic must have happened under the safety car to cause this event. Let me just have a quick wander, or gander shall I say, to see what actually happened to the guys behind. Nathan had a contender, but unfortunately these mistakes will cost him dearly and have huge complications for his race too. Huge implications for his race, sorry. As we can see that Bosch Evans is right behind Sweet Crowd too. Sweet Crowd is on the hard compound tyres, so maybe those tyres aren't fired up just yet. But Bosch Evans is right behind Sweet Crowd. He's going to send a move. Yes, he is. Side by side into 130 in the wheel to wheel. And they're so close as well. But Sweet Crowd just stayed ahead for the time being then, as Bosch Evans tried down the inside in towards 130R, just like Alonso did on Michael Schumacher, as Harry Palmer gets on the back end Reservoir, puts himself up into P7, but Reservoir surely with the DRS maybe. Might get a jump on him, but there's no DRS for either drive because it's activated on this lap. Here's the DRS there. As we go back towards the top of the field then, Speedclan is under massive pressure, but surely he has the tyre advantage towards the Grand Prix. So what actually happened to AJ? We look backwards to see what AJ did in the safety car period. I'm looking backwards now to see what AJ did. And I'm a lap too early there, sorry. So let me just skip forward to see how that man spun out of contention. That could have been a big key for AJ's race as well. Let's see what happened. It looks like a very strange spin. He spun going into Spoon. Literally on the entry towards Spoon at slow speed. So that's quite a bizarre spin there for AJ Wuhan. He locked up. He locked up and lost the rears, and that was it. Just sent him into a spin. And what an unlucky way for AJ right there. He'll be absolutely furious. He'll be kicking himself with that one too. As once again, Bosch Evans puts the pressure on Streetcar right in front of him. Right behind us going in towards 130R. I think Bosch Evans will be smart about this. I'm not going to move just yet. It also helps these medium runners. So the medium runners now, as Reservoir is the highest hard runner in P7. Not making any inroads so far. Got past Harry Palmer, but the next target is what is Stifford. And here comes Bosch Evans then in the DRS of Sweet Crown as he pulls to the left-hand side. Will he go around the outside into towards 2 on the wheel to wheel and into towards 1 and 2? As Bosch Evans there has to back up, but not yet though. He's still on the outside. Will he take the lead? He will. Great move there from Bosch Evans. Just millimetres separated those two, but he made it stick and nice and clean too. He's up into first place. Is Bosch Evans as well after started down in 9th place too. Great start there for Bosch Evans. Up to the field once again, as where's Reservoir? Reservoir is a second back in P6. Nathan JB is still doing a considerable good job in P5 despite the front wing damage, despite breaking his end plate too. Of course, he'll lose performance in the first sector too, which is not going to help his case try and get closer towards the drivers in front of him because he's on fresher tyres, as his aim will be looking to go forwards and try and get closer towards the guys in the top 4. But with that broken front wing, will hinder his performance. And he'll be the clutches of Reservoir as well, right behind too. So what a shame there for Nathan, who could have made something of this race. But unfortunately, it has affected him. So I'm not quite sure if it's his fault or not, what happened to him. But that's the pinpoint of that race as well for Nathan JB. So we've seen these two go at it in battle between Bosch Evans and Speedclan, and 3-4 is on the podium still in P3 on those mini compound tyres. Still got some decent pace on those mini compound tyres, has CRL 3-4. Isak Kush is right behind him too on the hards. So medium hard in the top 4. And here comes the Red Bull driver side by side with Isak Kush as he puts himself up into P3. Once again, he's on the podium, is the Red Bull driver, and Reservoir is back ahead of Nathan. Surely for this race, Reservoir's race now, to try and use these mid-hard compound tyres and close up towards the back of the top 4 too. He's got much fresher tyres in comparison towards the top 4, so he needs to use them to his advantage and try and get those people at the top of the field there too. Because they'll pit later on in the Grand Prix, have much better tyres, and Reservoir will have to manage his tyre supports in the Grand Prix. So he needs to try and use these tyres now and attack these guys. He's already under a second almost of 3-4-2. 3-4's tyres are starting to degrade there in the Racing Bull. He's lost his connection towards Isak Kush in P3. The gap is 1.1 seconds there, so 3-4 unable to keep up with the pace of Isak Kush in P3. But that was fantastic fighting there between Bosch Evans and Speedcrown. No quarter given, no quarter asked there between the top two, going neck and neck in towards the first and second corner as well. just millimetres from touching there, but they kept it nice and unscathed and clean as well, as Sweet Crown puts the pressure on Bosch Evans in front of him as we head down in towards the chicane once again. Let's see if Sweet Crown will pounce back on Bosch Evans shortly. Sweet Crown's tyres are better than Bosch Evans as well. With the DRS wide open there on the back of the Williams car, we go down the inside towards turn one. Surely now he has to use his tyre advantage to his advantage, and he is going up the inside towards turn one. The wheel to wheel once again as Sweet Crown puts his Williams back up into first place ahead of Bosch Evans as Reservoir gets past Freefall. Freefall is dropping down like a stone, unfortunately, after his tyres are starting to lose their peak grip and their peak performance as well. Those tyres are going past beyond their capabilities. 10 lap all mid-car power tyres now surely giving up the ghost. And you can see there the tyres are starting to degrade, and a bit of grain on the left front tyre as well being more evident. So he'll lose the grip all the way through. Maybe a pit stop will be inbound very shortly for the Scotsman as well, doing a fantastic job, it must be said, up into P5. Nathan's not catching. That's because he's got a broken wing. He may have fresher tyres, but he doesn't have the pace, unfortunately. He doesn't have the downforce in the first sector where he needs it as well. He needs the downforce, especially the first sector and the third sector too, in the high-speed corners, but he's not getting that because of that broken wing. It's really compromised his race so far at the Japanese Grand Prix. He's got better pace than the guys ahead, but not much better, if that makes sense. Just a few tenths now and then. That's because he's on better tyres. But he is gaining on free falls advantage. The gap is 1.4 seconds, so he's slowly reeling free fall in. And that battle will be imminent quite soon as well. As Bosch Evans, despite being on all mini powered tyres, is still able to catch Sweet Crown and keep on his gearbox too, keep him under pressure. He's got Isak Kush right behind him too. Here comes the DRS wide open for Bosch Evans, gaining on the Williams driver. Where would he go? The left hand side again as we head down in towards turn one, the neck and neck again. That was so close off the track there, but Bosch Evans goes all the way around the outside, but unfortunately he doesn't have the grip. Maybe that wasn't good enough for his tyres as well. The tyres just don't have the grip to go all the way around the outside. He was millimetres going off the track there and picked up a warning as well, so that was a very risky move from Bosch Evans. Those tyres must be suffering as well. That's what I like about Bosch Evans this season and other leagues as well, because he has really worked on his race pace so far. He's been consistent. He's been very good at managing so far, especially when tyres are that old. They should be at past their best, but still, he's keeping in tabs with the hard-runners. The more he could do this, the better for his race towards in the Grand Prix too. Keeping that stint going, elongate his first stint on the medium powered tyres and have the better, grippier hardcore powered tyres towards the end, because we know that this track, this game is an absolute tyre killer as well. So the more laps you do, the better. And to keep with the pace too, keep it flowing, keep consistent, keep going. Just got to keep it nice and tidy now, because surely his grip on the midi-car powered tyres are starting to go away too. So we can be very careful not to lose the balance of the car, because the car could snap on you at any given moment too, especially around a circuit like this where the tyres are so loaded, especially the first sector. The left front tyre takes a lot of punishment too around the circuit. The front tyres, the rear tyres will be screaming hard too. Isak Kush is closer towards Bosch Evans too. On the main straight we go with the DRS activated, but of course the driver in front of him has got the DRS too. There's Reservoir finally on the scene. It's well in P4. He's caught up, but I thought during the first safety car, he would have caught up quite quickly and dispatched these guys. You can see that Nathan's been detached. 3-4 did pit. He's up into P9 now, ahead of Dari. So he's pitted onto a new set of boots, and let's see how his progress evolves in this second half of the Grand Prix. This is turning out to be a strategy race. We don't know what's going to happen as well in this part of the Grand Prix. We don't know which cars has the best strategy, but so far Bosch Evans' strategy is working really well. He's taking those mediums longer than expected. He's also keeping on the back of Sweet Card too. Ronnie Stiffwood at P8 is also on the midi-car powered tyres, because my mediums, they couldn't last this long. Only about 8 or 9 laps my mediums could take it, but Bosch Evans is making these tyres work, keeping them in a nice optimum window, not overstretching these tyres, not pushing them too hard. They're not grading as fast as I thought they'd be. And this should help him in his second stint on the hardcore powered tyres. He should have no problems on the hards as well in the second stint. So tyre management will be off his mind during the second stint too. He's been so conservative. He's been so good at keeping his tyres alive. But he's got Isak Kush right at the back of his gearbox as we exit the chicane once again. Let's see when will he decide to pit as well. I don't want to leave it too late just in case as well. But Bosch Evans has the DRS right at the back of Speed Crown. Will he decide to stay behind him or go for an overtaking towards turn 1? He thinks better of it. He stays behind for the time being. He just wants to keep Speedcran up. He wants to keep Isak Kush at bay as well, as we see Harry Palmer move up into P5. A quiet race from the RP driver. Hasn't had the pace so far in this race, but running his own race so far in 5th place. With Nathan JB just in 6th there. I'll tell you also a driver who's doing quite well. Alex Knowlesley in P7 as well, doing a superb job in 7th place. His second appearance this season too. He also scored his last podium back at the Singapore Grand Prix in season 12 with a double Racing Bull podium with Duval and himself on the podium that day too. It should have been C4 Gamer who would have won, but unfortunately for him, he was involved in contact on the last lap of the Grand Prix with, I think it was, what was his name? He was on PC, and I can't remember, Nelly Safu, there we go. It was Nelly Safu who he caused contact with on the final lap of the Grand Prix, which was a shame. Seeb has missed so many opportunities as AJ is the first driver in the field to pick up a 3-second penalty, but unfortunately for Seeb, he has missed so many chances of winning races. Just something has to go wrong, whether it's contact with other drivers, penalties, etc., spins or whatever. His luck in CRL hasn't gone well so far. As Phoenix has retired from the race, this is going to work in the hands of Bosch Evans, maybe the medium runners as well, or the half runners now. The pendulum has spun towards the half runners way. Sweet Crown, Isak Kush as well. Rectify, his strategy has been blown out the window. He will not be happy that a safety car has been deployed because he'll be looking to take those tyres towards in the Grand Prix. But unfortunately, he's level pegging with everybody else. So in the pit lane comes those guys. I think we have an idea to see what tyres people go for. Bosch Evans on the new set of hards, Sweet Crown on mediums, Isak Kush on mediums, Reservoir mediums too. As the rest of the drivers then will hit this lap. Nathan will change his front wing, I presume. He will lose a lot of time, of course, but surely that front wing has been changed, and it has. Nathan has got a brand new postcode. he's got a brand new postcode. He's got a brand new nose code. There we go. Well, he does have a brand new postcode because he used to live in Manchester, but now this man lives in Scotland. So I am correct in a certain way, but a bit too late. His race has been compromised heavily due to that damage. I don't know where though, because it should have been on, I think it was on the safety car when that contact was made with somebody, but I'm not quite sure when or where it happened, and it certainly ruined his race. He took the lead in the first lap of the Grand Prix, but after that he just fell backwards. Unforeseen circumstances, it must be said. Devastating race for him, but there's still about 12 laps left to go in the Grand Prix, so anything could happen in this dramatic Japanese Grand Prix. It's damage limitation now for Nathan JB in P8. Alpine are first in the Constructors' Championship as well, so Alpine are in a fight for the Constructors, and Nathan JB as well is in P3 in the Drivers' Championship as well, so don't forget that. To reiterate the standards for you, because it's very important, Bompier is not here. Bompier is Sweet Crown's closest rival. Can he win the Grand Prix for the 3rd time this season, I think? Because it was Sweet Crown, Bosch Evans. Oh, I'm getting completely mixed up as well because it's been... Yeah, let me just check again to make sure I'm correct. You know what my memory's like. It is shocking sometimes, so I got to go back and check it. Even though I did a few hours ago, but of course, my memory isn't that great. So it was Sweet Crown, then Nathan JB, then it was Bosch Evans. So let's see if Sweet Crown can get his 3rd win of the season and extend that championship gap over Bompier in P2. Bompier has taken a sabbatical in his Grand Prix, but Sweet Crown leads the championship by 92 points. Bompier's in P2, 24 behind, with 68 points. Nathan JB is in P3, so potentially he could get Bompier for P2. Pease is in P4, no points for him, with 52 points. Seeb is in P5 with 52 points as well, so no points for him. Bosch Evans could leapfrog Pease and Seeb. Recify is 7th with 36, Bosch Evans with 44, sorry. Harry Palmer with 31, Isak Kush with 25, Leroy with 20 in 10th place, Jasper up into 11th with 20, Cross Liam with 19 and 12, Dari with 16 and 13, AJ Wuhan, bit of a surprise as well in P14 despite his good pace, but unfortunately been unlucky. and he has 40 points in 14th place. Demort's 15th with 8 points. Mick 16th with 2 points. Pharrell 17th with 1 point. And Jeroen Visser as well, a driver who has been leading races quite a few times this season, but unfortunately has DNFs on those 2 occasions. Back at the Dutch GP, back at the British GP. He's still on 0 points. Ronnie Stiffwood is also on 0 points, and Den Dave as well hasn't got off the mark either in the last place. And there are your Drivers' Championship standards for you. Whatever happens, Sweet Crown will extend the championship gap over Bompier too in P2. So Bompier, when he comes back, will have to try and do something about it as well. We'll have to try and regain his form. We know Bompier's got good pace, Seabab as well, but if they can't piece it together for some reason, those guys just seem to be suffering with a bit of bad luck too. So they need a change of fortune to those guys as well. So what's this approach now towards the Grand Prix? Because Bosch Evans you think would be a disadvantage in P2 on his hardcore part tyres, but those mediums though, I wonder how they'll fare out towards the Grand Prix. They should make it, those mediums, have no problem making it. Their safety car is in at the end of this lap, and we'll see some more racing action for the second time after the second neutralisation in this Grand Prix. Free Fall, unfortunately, has fallen backwards to P10, so the safety car has put him at a disadvantage too. So when will the Sweet Crown decide to go? And he pulls the trigger right now. Here we go then. As the safety car restarts, is well and truly underway. And Reservoir is right behind Sweet Crown. Eastside Kush, sorry. But he can't get him down towards turn 1. And Tyler Palmer is looking for a way past. As Ronnie Stiffle gets past Nathan. Nathan then lost the place towards him. And he's on the mini-car part tyres too. And here he is back at him. These two are side by side. Oh, contact between those two as the Williams goes off into the gravel there. And here comes the Ferrari Dari, and here comes the Racing Bull of Free Fall around the outside, inside too. So it's been a bit of a bumpy race for Nathan, a bit scruffy as well in terms of his standards. And here comes the Mercedes of AJ Wuhan up the inside, in towards the Dunlop curb, up into 9th place he goes. That's a very opportunistic move as well, but the game plan works for him. And Nathan JB, once again, has a bit of a squirrely exit. Has he lost his wing again? He has. Oh, what a shame for Nathan JB. Has he broke his wing once again? Race is going from bad to worse for him, or did he even change it during the first round of pit stops? That's the question as well. There is 10 laps of action left to go in the Grand Prix, and there's still plenty more action to come as well. This has been a phenomenal race so far. It's about to get even interesting as well. We've got Bosch Evans in P2 still keeping up with the hard runners. So despite Bosch Evans on the hard compound tyres, he hasn't been phased at all by the people on the midi compound tyres. Hasn't been dropped in towards the lower end of the field as well. So his pace from medium and hard compound tyres has been super fluent and consistent, smooth as well, which has really helped him in this Grand Prix to keep up with the leaders and have such commanding pace as well. But now this could be nail-biting stuff between Sweet Crown, Isa Kush, Reservoir, Harry Palmer too. They're all back in one DRS train. And look at Alex in P6. Alex in this race has done a much better job, it must be said as well. In P6 there, in the McLaren, he's a driver who usually struggles as well, as I know from a previous league or a different league. I raced with him too, so I definitely know what his pace is like. But so far, he's doing a superb job in the McLaren, is Alex Knowsley. He's scored a few podiums too in Division 2, 3 and Division 1 in CRL in his past history here. I don't think he's won a race in Division 1 so far, but he has won races before, has Knowsley, in the previous divisions. And look at Sweet Crown too, so he may be pulling away from Bosch Evans. He needs to do that right now as well. He has to do it as Free Fall. It's right at the back at AJ Wuhan, but can't go for the move in towards Spoon Curve as he keeps him at bay for the time being. This is going to be an exhilarating display of battling as well between these guys. As we see, Free Fall is ahead of AJ Wuhan. He puts himself up into P8 ahead of the Mercedes driver. So both brothers, unfortunately, not doing well in this Grand Prix. But Sweet Crown seems to have the edge of Bosch Evans. Bosch Evans in the early stage on the safety car seems to have the pace, but unfortunately, Sweet Crown for him has checked out. I wonder as well, later on in the Grand Prix, Bosch Evans has the tyre badges towards the end. Oh, Alex in the background spun! What a shame. We were just talking about how great he was a lap ago, but unfortunately he's put it in the wall and spun around. Was that contact, or did he just plainly lose it? I'm not quite sure, but he's losing traction now, with frustration added to his, unfortunately. So Bosch Evans then, the gap is 1.3 seconds as Sweet Clown is leading the Grand Prix. It looked like in the first stint, Sweet Clown couldn't catch up, but of course he was on the hardcore power tyres, so probably explains why he was losing pace there and time towards the guys at the top end of the field there. He's dispatching Bosch Evans and he's doing a really good job. The gap is 2 seconds there, so unfortunately Bosch Evans cannot catch up towards Sweet Clown. There is 8 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. The gap is 1.8, 1.9, so that safety car has put him at a disadvantage. I thought that his pace would be so exuberant. He stayed with Sweet Clown and other people on the minicar power tyres, but not to be so on this occasion. He's under pressure. Here comes Isak Kush up the inside, in towards the finals and corners, but doesn't make the move and stays behind for the time being. But he should have the DRS on the back of Bosch Evans. So does Reservoir 2, who is poised and looking to make a lunge as well as we head down towards turn 1. DRS enabled as Harry Palmer there too in the background. They're gaining on Bosch Evans, but can't make a move going down in towards the first 2 corners. Despite having DRS, he's still going to make the move. Good Isak Kush. He was super close and right behind him too, going in towards the Castillo Triangle chicane. But unfortunately for him, stays behind. And now he's under massive pressure from Reservoir right behind too. So he was the aggressor, he was the attacker, and now he's being hunted down and under massive pressure from Reservoir himself in P42. Reservoir is well looking for his first podium since the British GP. And of course the strategy didn't really work well for him either. But he's back in play. He pitted on the first safety car. He lost track position, but he gained it back immediately on those newer hardcore power tyres. Can Bosch Evans bring the gap down? He's got a bit of breathing space now between himself and Isak Kush. His tyres will get slightly better and better. It all depends though how much of a drop off Sweet Clown will have, or unless he can keep his tyre management sufficient and good enough towards the Grand Prix. So the gap is about 1.9. We'll keep that as a reference point, but the more Isak Kush and Reservoir attack Bosch Evans, the better it is for Sweet Clown to bridge that gap and pull away as well. So let's see if Sweet Clown can keep that gap over 2 seconds. There is 7 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. Sweet Clown has checked out in this race. He's left Bosch Evans in the clutches of Isak Kush, Reservoir and Harry Palmer. Reservoir there. I think I think Isak Kush just clonked the curb. And it really cost him heavily too, as Reservoir is right behind. Here he comes then, the Sauber driver side by side with the Red Bull driver as we head down towards turn 1. We go wheel to wheel in towards the first 2 corners of contact between those two. Both of them out of shape, and Isak Kush comes off worse. Here comes Harry Palmer, but there's no way around the outside towards turn 1 or turn 2 either. Shall I ask Daniel Ricciardo, and I think Alex Albon too. I think last year as well, back at the Japanese Grand Prix when that happened, when those two came to contact. So Bosch Evans has pulled away from Reservoir. The gap is 1.4. So their moment in towards turn 1 and turn 2 has lost them the DRS towards second place. Bosch Evans has checked away from Reservoir. The gap is 1.6, 1.7. It went down by a few tenths and back up again by a few tenths. So it keeps fluctuating that gap. But Sweet Clown, he needs to keep Bosch Evans out of his DRS range if he can. He's said the done, of course. There is still 5 laps left to go in this race. And Sweet Clown's most important job is keeping that Ferrari out of his DRS if he can. Easier said than done, of course. This is going to be a stirring race towards the end. I think the climax of this race is really starting to build up. A fight for P1 could still happen between the guys at the top of the field as Ronnie Stifford picks up a penalty in this Grand Prix. It seems a bit settled down in the midfield, but the action is at the top of the field. As Sweet Clown then trying to do everything he can, making sure he nails every single apex, every single braking point. He knows he can't afford to make any mistakes as well. One mistake, and Bosch Evans is right there in the DRS range of the Williams driver too. So Sweet Clown has got to pay attention every single time. That's why it's so important as well to remain calm under pressure, knowing you're being hunted down. Got to make sure you nail every single braking point. Turning in, counting speed all the way through. Making sure you don't lose back in the car. Lock it up as well. Losing traction. Head down from here to the end of the Grand Prix for Sweet Clown. The gap is 1.5 seconds. He has that buffer. Over 5 tenths of DRS there. But Bosch Evans will be pushing so hard to get that gap down under a second. He knows there's a bit of a tyre advantage towards the end. The hard compound tyres will be a little bit better than the mediums too towards the Grand Prix. So surely Bosch Evans then, the pendulum should swing back his way. He did take the pain in the early part of the second safety car restarts. But the pendulum should be swinging back his way very soon in the Grand Prix if he keeps it nice and tidy, keeps Reservoir at bay too. He's done such an electrifying job as well, keeping the guys behind, Reservoir and Issa Kush, because for 1 second I thought Bosch Evans would lose second place when he was at DRS Rachel Speedcrown. Reservoir and Issa Kush were getting for P2. But he's done such a superb job so far, has Bosch Evans, in second place there. But he's got Reservoir right behind him too, so Reservoir is upped it up as well in P3. And let's see if Reservoir can get him down straight in towards turn 1 we go. Reservoir has a bit of a moment out of the final 2 corners there. You can see a little bit of twitch from the Sauber. There is about 4 laps left to go in the Grand Prix, and still Speedcrown is doing such an amazing job of keeping that gap behind. The tension is palpable between the top 2 there as well. Isak Kush has lost lost touch with second and third place too, so he is no longer included in the battle. A chance for a podium is fading away for the Red Bull driver, unfortunately for him. What a roller coaster of a ride so far around here at the Japanese Grand Prix, the figure 8 circuit, but it's not done just yet. Bosch Evans is trying to push as hard as he can to bring that gap down under a second as well and keep Reservoir at bay. And the gap is 1.1, so for 1 second of a certainty, it looked like he was struggling to get DRS range. The gap was 1.8 the last lap. It is 1.2 seconds then, so Bosch Evans is eating into the lead of the Dutchman of first place there as well. So Bosch Evans could sense another win. It could be 2 wins in a row for the Welshman. And Harry Palmer too is right to the back of Issa Kush. So Issa Kush in this phase of the Grand Prix is starting to struggle a little bit, falling backwards in the clutches of Palmer behind him too. Palmer is doing such a superb job of doing a really good job of keeping the pace and putting the pressure on as well. It's like a yo-yo. Every time the gap goes down, it goes up as well between Bosch Evans and Speedcrown. Every time Bosch Evans gets some time back at Speedcrown responds and also does a mega job bringing that gap over 1.2. But the gap is 1.2, 1.3. The time is running out for Bosch Evans, and Speedcrown is desperate for those lap times to tip down immediately. He's hoping that Reservoir will put pressure on Bosch Evans too to delay, possibly inevitable, and delay his chances of catching up to Speedcrown. But the gap is 1 second, and Bosch Evans is almost in DRS range there. Just 1 more thousandth of a second to get DRS range, and he is. Bosch Evans there finds himself in DRS range, and Speedcrown did everything he can to break that gap and get that gap over 2 seconds. Unfortunately for him, it hasn't worked. So now Speedcrown is in a bit of a predicament here as well in first place. Now Bosch Evans is in DRS range of Speedcrown. He can focus on recharging the battery. So maybe on lap 25, 26, recharge the battery up, because I'm not quite sure how much is used as well, because I presume both men have been using their battery to try and catch up and pull away from each other. So maybe a bit of management could go on as well. Look at Reservoir right behind Bosch Evans too. So it's such a battle for the top 3. An intense battle for first, second and third place here. It's going to go all the way down to the wire in this one. And Bosch Evans is on the hardcore power tyres, of course, so his tyres should be slightly better theoretically in comparison towards Reservoir Speedcrown. I think the peak performance of those mediums will be gone now, past their best. They'll still have a bit of life in them, but not too much. But Bosch Evans now is in DRS range. He can focus on using that DRS, keep Reservoir behind too. It's really good for Bosch Evans too, because now he's in DRS range of Speedcrown. He can keep Reservoir behind him as well, which has really worked in his favour. You can manage the ERS, keep Reservoir behind too, as it's so difficult to overtake with somebody with DRS in front of you. Sorry about that, didn't mean to pause the menu there, but I'm back now. Just had to take a little bit of a quick drink as well. There is 3 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. It was a wet, dry race back at the Monza Grand Prix, but it's a full dry race here with a sprinkle of rain in qualifying added towards the drama here. It's been a stellar race so far, but it's not done just yet because we've still got a battle between first, second and third place. Bosch Evans is going for his 2nd win of the season, and Speedcrown is going for his 4th win of the season too. Can he get it? Or shall I say 3rd, actually? Both men, Speedcrown is fighting for a championship. He's looking to pull that gap over Bompier and Nathan, which he is doing, because Bompier is 2nd in the championship, Nathan is 3rd, and Speedcrown is gaining points on both of them too. So this is going to be such a good pool of points to take away from Sweetcam regardless too. Because Bob Pete isn't here and Nathan's too far behind. These small moments as well for Nathan JB he's been having so far. Look at Reservoir, rise that back of Bosch Evans. He could force him to overtake Speedcrown in towards turn 1. We could see a bit of Season 9, Season 10 when we saw Yavoon, Russell and also Speedcrown in the top 3 fighting, and therefore the top 3 had to swap places every time because second place was forced to overtake first. And this could be the case. And here comes Bosch Evans right behind alongside the Williams driver as he goes in towards turn 1. He takes the lead of the Grand Prix but goes off the track there. I dare say he might have exited track limits in towards turn 1, but now he takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Was that the wrong thing to do? The last lap is coming up. Maybe Speedcrown will have the advantage on the next lap and overtaking with the battery and the DRS as well. Let's see if that happens then. But Speedcrown there didn't get a perfect run out of the S section. What a resilient drive so far for Bosch Evans in this race. He's really shown his mettle this season. He's really shown what driver he's transformed into this season as well. He's done such a stellar job as well. Difficult part of the season for Bosch Evans in Bahrain, puncher as well. But he's come back very strong ever since his win in Monza. He's been on the high so far in Monza, and here in Japan he's driving like a man possessed so far. He's focused, pushing the limits of the car, getting better and better every single race. It looks like the car is on rails too. Hasn't seen a single mistake for Bosch Evans so far yet, but Speedcrown is right behind. The gap is 0.3 of a second then, so Bosch Evans could be under massive pressure as well as we head down towards the final corner. The final 2 corners, Bosch Evans suffers a massive lock-up as we head in towards the chicane. Speedcrown is right behind him too, so Bosch Evans might regret this move on the last lap. Gets a bit of a lovely launch though out of the final corner. Here we go. The DRS is wide open. Speedcrown's gaining. Where's Bosch Evans going to go on the inside outside? Here comes Speedcrown to take the lead of the Grand Prix in towards turn 1. But will Bosch Evans then think about getting Speedcrown in towards 130R? There is not over yet. There is still more chances to overtake, and that is down towards the Casio Triangle chicane. These two need to focus on the exit of Spoon Curve as well. That's a very important part of the racetrack. I've seen plenty of times where people mess up Spoon Curve and the guy behind as well. Look at this. You can see a lot of ERS management is going on. The flashing light at the back of the Williams car. He's trying to harvest as much ERS ready for the last lap attack as well. And Harry Palmer has been brought back into this as well. We're headed down towards the hairpin. There's no way Josh Evans can descend it down the inside here. He isn't. You're going to think smartly about this. You can see all 3 drivers there managing the ERS. It could be another situation where we saw Tope and Kalen go wheel to wheel and third place in the Grand Prix too. Remember that photo finish in first, second and third in Division 2. Here we go then, the main point of the Grand Prix. At the exit of Spoon Curve, the battery will be used. Bosch Evans is right in the slipstream of Speedcrown. How good is his straight line speed? Can he outdrag him all the way towards the Casio Triangle chicane? He's gaining and gaining. Can he go down the inside of Speedcrown in towards the final 2 corners? He can't. He's a bit too far back. As now we exit the final 2 corners we go, but with the better exits, will Bosch Evans fancy a move? No, he can't. It's a bit too far back. Speedcrown will come across the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix. What a fantastic race it's been for Speedcrown again. He takes his 3rd win of the season, and he also extends his championship lead. Bosch Evans in P2, missed out there, but I think he's still happy with the P2. Reservoir P3 ahead of Harry Palmer. He's not pushing 5th ahead of Dory. Nathan JB, a disappointing race for him, and 3-4 retires too. There he is. As AJ Wuhan finishes P8 ahead of Ronnie Stifford, and Alex will finish in P11 with no fastest lap to his name. What are we waiting for, by the way? Is somebody... We're waiting for Ronnie Stifford. Amazing drive once again from Speedcrown. Attacked Bosch Evans at the right moment at the right time, saved the battery as well, had enough battery and good straight line speed to hold off the charging Bosch Evans. Reservoir is in the chat, which is what's waiting for Bosch Evans and Speedcon potentially if he wants to join. It's all up to him, of course. Nowadays he doesn't join, but I really hope I could get to speak to the Dutchman once again. So Reservoir, mate, you started the pole. Talk us through your qualifying lap, because that was such an amazing lap. You only had one shot and you did not miss your chance to blow. You took first place. Fantastic qualifying for you, mate, despite under massive pressure. Your lap time counted.
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't a great lap. I think a lot of us struggled just because it wasn't wet, but the rain put a lot of people off. So I just got lucky I had the best out of the laps that people did. So, and then I tried to go again. I think I was down by 400ths crossing the line. So yeah, it was a one lap quali basically.
Of course, two safety cars came out during the course of this Grand Prix. You pitted on the first one, so have the better tyres towards the second stint as well. But unfortunately, that second safety car came out because I think your strategy was to go all the way to the end of the race on the first set of hardcore powered tyres. But unfortunately, that safety car came out to interrupt that and ruin it. And talk us through what was your thinking during the race.
See, I mean, my plan was on the first safety car, I pit for hards and then pit for mediums or softs later. And then about 10 laps into the second part, I was like, these tyres could go to the end. So I was going to go to the end, and then safety car came out, and I was like, I got to pit because people will be behind on new softs and I'll be on old hards, and it just won't work. So I pit and tried to fight the top two, but it's really hard in a track like this because they'll switch around, and I just don't have enough, time to get past them. So I just set up for P3.
Yeah, Beast, I know what it's like, and I've seen it plenty of times as well before in Japan, where it's so difficult to overtake somebody. But like you said, the two switching on, they have control of the Grand Prix already, don't they? They can control it and determine who will win, while you're saying that P3 contributed about it as well. So I think P3 was at your best today, mate. I think you've done a really good job overall as well. Nathan got you down towards turn one, but of course you guys pitted as well during the first safety car. Do you think that's the reason why you cost you the race, or are you happy about it?
To be fair, I'm happy about it. Like the situation that it was, the game, you're gonna get luck, you're gonna get no luck. The first one was a bit of luck because I think me and Nathan both pitted, and we were gonna easily win that, and then he got damage on the restart, and I think a lot of people did actually get damage on the restart. But then it was the second one that ruined it a little bit. But you can't always get lucky with these safety cars. So to get P3, I'm still very happy.
Well, congratulations, mate. And it's another podium too after getting a podium at the British GP. And I missed out too at Monza with that safety car coming out. But now, what's the next race of the season? I forgot already, even though I just looked at the calendar. That's how bad my memory is. But the next race of the season is at the Yas Marina Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi. So you haven't got a win yet this season for you, Reservoir, but it's not over yet. There's still plenty of chances. Do you think that first win is coming this season?
Well, I used to be really good at Abu Dhabi, but now I just can't drive to save my life. I'm just trying to find a calendar. Here it is. What are the last races? Oh, here it is. I like Spain. I like Singapore a lot. So if I'm gonna try and win anywhere, it'll probably be Singapore, Jeddah. So that's my hope.
Well, good luck, mate, if you do. And well done today in today's race. You did a good job, great pace today, good qualifying as well, because you said that everybody else struggled and you kept on the track and managed to get the best out of the conditions sport despite having only one lap. So good job today, mate, and good luck next week.
Cheers, mate. See ya.
You're welcome. And that's the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. No Bosch Evans or Sweet Crown in the party, and we'll see you all next week at the Yas Marina circuit. And see you all later. Goodbye for now. Good luck. Sorry, I don't know why I said good luck, but goodbye for now and good night.